So from the center of the face, if we measure his eyes and his nose, how far down it goes. So here's the length of his eye, right? So if we match that, so that's 1. So it's roughly 1.5 eye lengths away. So his septum is 1.5 eye lengths away from the center of his face. So that's how we're going to measure ours. So take your pencil, measure with your pencil, inside corner, pinch on the outside corner of the eye. And you're going to measure from the center of the face here, 1 eye, and then 1.5. And at the 1.5 mark, you're going to put a mark. That is where our person's septum is going to be. Okay? The septum is where people get it pierced with the. And remember, we don't have lines on the sides of our noses. The only defined line that we have on our noses is the septum and the nostrils. I'm going to show you how to draw that right now. All right, everyone put that mark there. Now, with the septum, so this is where the septum is at, so it's not going to go past that. And all that is just a little curve. It's almost going to look like, I'm going to draw like a little mustache. So the septum, it goes up a bit. That's going to be our person's nostril on the right. And then you do the same thing on the left. So it almost looks like a little mustache. Septum, nostril. Septum, nostril. Okay. Now this is the inside of our person's nostril, so it's going to be pretty dark. Right? It tends to be the darkest part of our noses. Now, some people have narrow noses. Some people have wider noses, right? So mine tends to be pretty wide, my nostrils. People's nostrils, just to show you how far out they go, if we compare it to his, here's where his nostril ends on the left, and it lines up with the inside corner of his eye. Same thing happens for the other nostril. It lines up with the other inside corner of the eye. So I'm almost there on this one. So I'm just going to make kind of like an imaginary line going down to where the nostrils are at. And I'm just going to make a little curve right there. And then same thing on the other side. A little curve right there. And these two curves that I just drew line up with the inside corners of our person's eyes. Okay. I'm going to now erase that center line. Because we don't want it to get in the way. And now we're ready to shade and make our person's nose come to life. Okay? If you look at the picture, notice that the sides are darker, right? Not a line, it's just shaded. So notice that this dark area starts actually where the eyebrow and the eye are at. So the shading, lightly, not a lot, starts up here and then comes down. Now, the more in you go, the more narrow your person's face or nose will look. The further out you go, the wider your person's nose is going to look. So I'm going to just shade a little bit going down the side here. And then just trying to shape my person's nose. All right? And I'm going to do on the other side as well. So lightly shade going down from the eyebrow down towards the nose. Just lightly, not a lot. Again, I'm not making two hard edge lines, all done with shading. Okay, and you see it kind of slowly appear. It will be a little darker closer to the eyes. And now we're going to add a little bit of value. If you look at his nose, right here at the tip of it, when it curves down to the septum, it gets a little darker, just to show that it's curving in into his face. And then it does get a little darker on the nostrils. And if you look at his nose, see how it's darker? There's this little hot spot right in here. It's at the tip point of the nose. So we typically have a hot spot right in here and sometimes in the center. Our noses stick out the most from our face, which is why it tends to have a hot spot. Now, I left a little bit of a light area right in here for the nose, and I made it a little darker here on the left. I'm going to go over here on the right as well and do the same thing that I did over here on the right, or on the left. Okay, and then go up. So I made that nose by just shading, not by drawing a line on both sides. All right, the next thing we do on the nose is right underneath the nostrils where you would have your boogers drip down, right? Tends to be a little bit of a shadow there. That's created by your septum because it hangs out. Not like a lot, but it just drops down. I'm just going to erase that vertical line. All right. That's the nose, right? So the biggest thing for the nose is the shading. That's what makes up the nose. Remember, the only lines I drew were these for the septum and the nostrils. So those are the only lines I drew. And same thing would happen for his nose, right? And for the majority of people's, unless there's like some crazy deformity or there's some issue that happened to whoever you're drawing, then that's different.